questions. How did you come on this planet Earth? All of you, how did you come in here? My mother's womb. My mother and my father did it. Okay, but it's their fault. But really, I mean, did anybody chose to be on this planet Earth? Any one of you selected to be on this planet Earth? How did you come here? God selected you. God chose you to be on this planet Earth. No matter what color you are, no matter what nationality, what matter what your name, your differences. I must respect you. Because if I don't respect you, I kind of, have a bad connection or relationship with God, the Creator. So as everybody was selected by God. And that only if we just ponder on this idea that everybody on planet Earth was selected by God, and who am I to judge them and to say this guy is this, or this person is that, or that lady is this. It's not me. I shouldn't have this. I don't know where we lost it. We should just love each other. And with love, we can really connect, and we can really, be inclusive, and, having all the elements that our previous speakers talked about, where we really gain. What is she doing?
Pointing at us.
Yes. Who am I to judge? When you point a finger, they've always been told, I've been told several times that when you point finger on any person, they remember there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. And yet I don't get it. I have to always look at me rather than looking at you. And I have to fix myself from the inside, rather looking at others and saying,
33%. And for 2023, this is the latest balance scorecard. So there was advancements. Kuwait scored 46% in inclusiveness. But as we can see, there is so much more opportunity to advance this.
Here, you will see automatic captions. Don't get distracted by it. I have a strong Italian accent, so not all the words will make sense, but they will help. Because when we don't know and we are not familiar with the audience, by default, in all your presentation, you should have automatic captions. Also, I'm 160 centimeters tall. I have short blonde hair. I'm wearing reading glasses. I'm wearing a blue suit and a white top. Why am I doing this?
But before we get started on that, I want to talk about what does it mean to upskill or reskill your workforce. The workforce upskilling, it means to give your workforce the new skills or different sets of skills that makes them a productive part of the organization. The reason we have to do that is because a lot of changes are happening. Make us feel good, as my friend here said, they get our happiness hormones up that we're doing the good thing. But is it going to make a difference? Are we really achieving what we want to achieve? So we need to have different benchmarks that we look at. We need to look at the completion rates, the skill assessments. Did the people actually that wanted these programs, were they able to successfully complete it? Were they subsequently successful or will replace them?
Truly governs the strategy and the implementation of the strategy
so that well-being actually is implemented within the organizations. Who is responsible? A culture is made up of all of us. I mean, even all of us here in this room have come up with our own little culture, our own thoughts, our own values, our own way of communicating with one another, hidden and overt. And as such, we are all responsible for the well-being of the organization and the people.
We spoke with you a lot around different nationalities. I think everyone who works in organizations, large or small, in GCC are exposed to at least 5 different nationalities. Our Middle East office has 12 people, and we have 8 nationalities within these 12 people. So how do you ensure that you have a well-being practice that fits everyone, that would be suitable for everyone, and serve that cultural diversity?
So if you want to reach scaling, there are, first, I recommend reading the book Voltage Effect. Voltage Effect specifically talks about initiatives and how they scale, but the second and more practical, let's say, secret recipe, if we may say, to scaling is to start with the process from the beginning and don't go towards the end and just try to scale something.
Kuwait chapter and the chairwoman of the oil sector coaching committee for the KBC for 8 companies. I'm a team leader in Kuwait National Petroleum Company. Also, I'm internal coach and mentor coach and certified team coach. I will give you a presentation today about the importance of coaching in
to other people coming back to work in the office, to do that altogether when people working from home. That is actually had a beneficial effect for some people with disabilities who have the home environment set up in a way that they're able to access their computer or facilities and work from that.
Stop marketing coaching for money. It is ethical to take care of your employee. I stopped presenting these 3 slides with 27 reasons for money. All companies say they care for their employee. It's their mission and vision and values. We care about our employee, and you don't see coaching culture there. Coaching culture is walk of the talk of caring for employee.
Which is ridiculous when you think about it. And unfortunately, that gap has only widened. And so, for all the ladies in the room, I have some really bad news for you. Right now, sitting here, you are working for free. You will not get paid in comparison to your male counterparts. I hope this isn't the case for you, but I imagine it probably will be until next month, whereas your male counterparts are paid from the beginning of the month. There's a 2-month gender pay gap, year on year, for women in industry, particularly as we get further up. We've seen a dip in the numbers of people in diversity, equity and inclusion in the workplace overall. So according to a recent LinkedIn statistic, there's been a cut of 44% of people with D&I in their title. And what that essentially means is that those budgets are starting to go elsewhere. How can we stop this from happening? Because as we've seen, there has been so much progress. The picture around diversity, equity and inclusion in the UK and the US really started to change back in the 1970s. Now, unfortunately, we're still seeing the gender pay gap in that region. But you can see it now rolling out across this region, of course, across Asia, and although there is still disparity, there has been a lot of progress. in this space. And then we have our dear friend, Mr. Elon Musk. How many of you saw this quote on Twitter or on X or whatever it's called? Yeah. DEI must die. It's pretty catchy, and I think it did catch on. And
if I'm not controlled. So, just to make sure that we're all in this together, because I've always been really passionate about D&I. I am an IO psychologist. Does anybody know what industrial and organizational psychologists do besides drive everyone crazy? No? Hi, nice to meet you. We specialize in workplace development, workplace design, organizational systems, organizational development. We do a lot of different things, and our fingers are in everything, which is why when people ask me what I do, and I say I'm a D&I specialist, and I say I'm an IO psychologist, and they say, well, what does that mean? And I said, I'm paid to cause trouble. That's what I do. So I'm really excited.
As I graduated the program, I joined the D&I team, our internal innovation program. Since then, we launched the program and have received more than 600 ideas, and we have seen the direct effect that innovation can have on an organization. Now, since the beginning of the year, my role shifted a little bit into youth empowerment, and I'll be discussing a bit on
when we're starting our assessment process, and then finally our selection. So, these are best case practices that are, again, I'm focusing here on gender and on women inclusion, but can also be applied on different categories. For the hiring process or recruitment process to be inclusive, it's very important for us to look at it from the first step. The first step is, are we reaching out to women from different demographic profiles? What is demographic profiles?
Because this is really important. If equality is that important in our lives and in our organizations, then why is it so difficult to sort of implement? Okay. So if we sort of start with the end in mind, I think my slides have been slightly reorganized. So, what's business success? How do we define business success? Profit, bottom line, yes? Okay. Most businesses will say that's their, okay, age, religion, gender, marital, civil partnerships. Then we'll move to sort of the invisible parts of our personality and our characteristics, experiences, socioeconomic status, social mobility. We heard about
future talent, we're going to be talking about invention, and a little bit of empowerment in there as well. And it gives me great pleasure, and it is an honor to welcome on stage with me in our panel discussion two young, brilliant minds from our oil and gas industry. We have Ms. Bashayr Dashti, Hayakallah, and Mr. Salman Latibi, Hayakallah as well. Just to give you a bit of introduction about our panelists, Ms. Bashayr Dashti is a senior reservoir engineer with 13 years.
It reads time reflections greater than 200 milliseconds. The reservoir that I was working on was shallow, highly unconsolidated. So the low frequency results made the seismic mapping a challenging task, and to find the anomaly was also a challenging task that I had to go through in order to get a proper model to build on. The registration of the patent itself also was a challenging task because it was during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and we had a lot of online meetings and discussions, justifications and explanations, back and forth emails and meetings.
That's a stereotype of ADHD, that it's sort of naughty schoolboys on the school roof setting fire to something, but actually it can look very different to that. So ADHD isn't just poor concentration. I don't have poor concentration, but I need to regulate my concentration. So at school, to leave school, I needed to do 12 exams. I was like, I'm not going to do 12 exams. I just concentrated on 7 because I didn't have the concentration span to go across 12. If you made me do 12, I'd have failed them all. So I focused on 7 and passed those. It's not a lack of concentration, it's like a lack of regulation. Also, I'll concentrate on something if you make it interesting. And at school, it wasn't always that interesting. So it's really funny to think about that. It's not always a lack of concentration. And a lot of the stuff I see in the media about ADHD is like, oh, smartphones cause ADHD, television causes it. None of those things cause it, because ADHD isn't just about attention. There's a lot more to it. It might not be helpful for people that have ADHD. Modern society is probably really difficult with things like smartphones and television.
Examples of the interview process. Having gender balanced trained interview panels is very important. And Dr. Jennifer mentioned something about the pressure on different groups to take part of this, but if I'm talking specifically about gender inclusion, I would say that this is a minimum basic practice that companies should have. An interview panel should not be all males, basically, as simple as that, or all females. If you can, keep it inclusive, keep it balanced, have representation.
So really, especially early in the morning, before you go to sleep, are you grateful because you are living? You are chosen by God to experience this life? Are you fortunate? Are you happy? Are you grateful? These are the thoughts that you should put in your mind. And then your thoughts will impact your emotions. Definitely. What you put in your mind, and you can make your mind a garden or a rubbish bin, depending on the quality of thoughts you have. Emotions. Your emotion will impact your behavior, how you behave. And your behavior becomes your habits, and it gives you the outcome. So if you have an issue with your outcome, check out your thoughts. Usually it starts with the way you think. Is this clear? What do you see? Brooklyn, New York, there is a Chush school. Chush school is for the disabled learning children. In a fundraiser, a father with a son named Shia, he is in that school, handicapped. And Shia's father was asked to speak on behalf of the parents in a fundraiser event. So Shia's father went to the podium and he asked the question, where is the perfection in my son Shia? God always creates things perfect. But where is God's perfections in my son Shia? Then he continued saying, last Sunday, I was walking in the park with my son, only to see kids in my son's age playing baseball in the park. So my son looked at me, and you know, kids love to play, right? Kids are all about playing. So the son asked, do you think they'll let me play with them? And the father looked at his son. He looked at the boys, and he saw his son is not capable to walk, is not capable to hold the bat, let alone play. He saw his son was so eager, so he went and asked one of the kids. And they said, one of the kids looked at him, and he looked at the kids and he said, listen, we are losing, and it's the 8th inning, and we are losing, so why not? So Shia's face lit up. He was so happy. His father was so happy. So they went and played. They gave him the gloves and they told him he's gonna play. But after playing somehow, because they were losing, they went back in the game. They scored some runs. So they're back in the game, and now it's Shia time. So they gave him the bat, And the boy who's against him just threw the ball softly because he sees Shaya how he is. And he tried, he couldn't. Then one of his teammates came and held him from the back with the bat, and they were able to hit the ball. But the ball didn't go far away. So anybody could pick it up, give it to his friend, the game is over. But that child who picked up the ball, he threw it far away to give a chance for Shaya to run first. And then Shaya ran second. And they were like, you know, putting him in the right track and telling him, run home, Shaya. Run home, Shaya. And Shaya made the home run. They carried him. All 18 boys carried Shaya on their shoulder and they started jumping. Then the father said, those boys reached God perfection. You know, differences, we are all here are beautifully different than each other. I have 3 triplets, girls. They're not identical, thank God. But even in their personality, they are different than each other. Although they lived in the same environment, the same school, the same teachers, everything. So just to tease you a bit, what do you think the difference between looking, seeing, sight, and insight? Anybody has an idea? Go ahead, please. Give her the mic.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I believe that an insight comes from within, where sight is linked to your eyes and like, visually seeing things.
Right.
Looking is just looking, vaguely, randomly. And seeing can be linked to seeing things to an extent truly, maybe.
Yeah, in Arabic we say النظر والبصيرة أو البصر. And basira means you think about what you see and your thoughts. So it's mainly about your mindset, as our colleague said earlier. Another question. Which one is more important? The brain or the heart?